everyone. We're there with all of the good stuff. Okay, we're at Mastermind with Neil Schwartz. Thank you very much for all these fun technical difficulties. We got it now. Mike Roth, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing all the good stuff. We really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good, excellent. Mike, take a minute or two and just share kind of the Reader's Digest version of, what market you're in, how long in the business, some of your production, whether you're a team or not. Just give me a couple of points here.
Sure. Yeah, I'm in the greater Milwaukee, Wisconsin market. We service pretty much anywhere in southeastern Wisconsin. And I've been in the real estate business since 1981, following Mike Ferry since 1990. And yes, I have a team. It's the Roth team. Consists of my wife, Sandy, Cindy, Diane, and Lois handle the administrative. And then myself, my brother, Alan, my nephew, Brad, and Eric are the salespeople. So 4 salespeople and 4 assistants.
Fantastic. And what was your closed transaction business in 2019?
That was probably one of our worst years, 170 deals closed. This year we're one of the worst years in a long time. Yeah. This year we're already closed 160 and we got 31 pending. We should close 240 somewhere in there this year.
Fantastic! Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very good. So how's the 4 admin people and the 4 salespeople now? Are they listing agents, buyers agents? How's that work for you?
Both. Yeah, they do both. They prospect, list, and they work with buyers. All of the above.
Okay. So how much of this business is Mike Roth's and how much of the business is your team's?
Good question. Yeah, I wish most of it was the team. Out of the 170 deals, I did 85 of those last year. And this year, I'm probably on track to close 105, 110 of the 240.
Okay.
So
45% of the business is yours?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah. I've been in it the longest. Yeah. My brother's been in real estate going on, I think 17 years now. And my nephew about 10 years. And Eric is going on like his 5th or 6th year in the business.
So did you start as a team, Mike, or was that a progression for you?
Well, I always just worked by myself until I met Mike Ferry, and then I hired an assistant to do all the paperwork. And then later on, when I got busy with listing appointments, I hired a buyer's agent. And then, yeah, it just kind of progressed. I didn't really look to hire anybody more than that, but over the period of years, I had family and friends that saw we were successful and they came to me and said they wanted to get into real estate. So I decided to help them out. That's really what my goal here is now, is to make them successful and rich in the process here. And I wish more of the business was theirs. And that ultimately is the goal, that they do as much business or more than I do.
Got it. Okay. Most of the transactions, the 105 that you do, are they listings or are they split buyers sellers?
No, it's probably 95% listings sold. Occasionally I'll sell a buyer a home, but that isn't too often.
And what's the source of your 95 transactions? What 95?
The largest source is past clients and centers of influence. That's probably 35-40%. Then the second largest part was expired listings, but those are a lower source this year. Expireds for sale by owners, those are second and third.
So expireds and for sale by owners. So,
Mm-hmm.
you're making up the difference if 35% of it's past client and sphere, and you're not
Mm-hmm.
doing as much expired for sale by owners. Is it coming from just listed, just sold?
No, we have enough past clients to call. So what we're trying to do is get more business from our referrals from our past clients, not just our past clients or centers of influence themselves. So uh, yeah, I'd say it's probably closer to 40% as a group.
Got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So your focus this year was not just the direct past client and sphere, but the referral from a past client and sphere adding to it. So you get two things there. You get a transaction, and then you get all of the downline from those people into your database, right?
Correct.
Got it.
Yeah.
Smart strategy. Good for you. Good for you. So how many people in your past client and sphere base?
Large. It's close to 7,000 right now.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. That's why we don't have any time to call just listed and just solds. We have a hard enough time keeping up contacting these people on a regular basis.
Well, for sure, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So do you touch all those people all the time? How does that work for you?
No, yeah, we're not getting. So we do the mailings 4 to 6 times a year. The triple A pass clients, we try to contact them 4 to 6 times a year. The ones that we know are going to get leads. The regular database, I'll be guilty and I'll admit we're maybe contacting them once a year at most by phone. But I also contact them via video blog. So I use viral marketing, and every 2 weeks I send out a video blog to that entire database, or the ones that I have the email addresses for, which is probably close to half of them.
So the triple A's, how many of those do you have, more or less?
Close to like 500.
Okay. And
4 to
those,
500.
and to
Mm-hmm.
be a triple A, they have to give you a referral. So what percentage of that 500 do you get
Mm-hmm.
business from on a regular basis?
That's a good question, Neil. We know which ones give us business, and some give you more business than others, but these are generally people, when you call them, they're going to say, oh yeah, Mike, if we ever know of anybody who's going to buy or sell, we pass your name out. So versus somebody, oh yeah, I remember you sold us the house 8 years ago or 10 years ago. So we're focusing on the ones that we know when they call, they're going to be our biggest fans, that they're going to be willing to pass our name out to other people.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
So so you mark that 500 in a different filter, and that stays
Mm-hmm.
away from the 6,500 other people.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So the 6,500 people that you have in there, those are people that you met along the way. You met at an open house. You downloaded a bunch of numbers. How'd you get that number?
Those are only either past clients, or as Mike has taught us over the year, we took the other agent's past client and added them to the list. So that's why that list is so big, because over the last 39 years I've been in business, I've had 6,000 closings. So, and of course, not all those people are on the list, because if
1,000 people, there's the number. There's the number. Isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. So it's nobody, and it's nobody that we haven't done business with. It's people we've done business with, or they were on the other side of the transaction, and we added them to our database.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So Mike, if you do 240 transactions this year, what kind of money do you make in Wisconsin?
Our average commission, our sales price is like right now around 315,000. So our average commission is going to be about $8,400. So our GCI is going to be 1.9, 1.95, somewhere in there.
Can you survive on that in Wisconsin?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm very fortunate. Yeah, yeah. A lot of people, my guys work for the money. I don't really. I want the money. I like the money, but I don't need the money. I'm really in it because I like what I'm doing. And so, yeah, it's a great living. I mean, ever since I met Mike Ferry in 1990, I tell him all the time, he made me a rich man. Rich, not only financially, but, the rest of your life is great. Life is good. Yeah.
Sounds like it. Sounds
Yeah.
like it. Absolutely. Do you have, so your whole family, sounds like your whole family's in the business.
Yeah. My brother, Alan, my younger brother of 10 years, my nephew, Brad, my two sons never had any interest in getting in sales. But they're doing great. Matter of fact, that's one of the things I'm working on now. My youngest son wants to own rental property. So my goal is to get him to, even though he doesn't sell real estate, buy real estate so he can be financially independent.
That's great.
That's another thing we do. We buy a lot of real estate, or at least bought over the years.
So smart, very, very smart. That's what you have to do with the money. I love it. Hey,
right.
So let me ask you, COVID-19 cause you any hiccups at all, or it doesn't sound like it right now?
I actually think COVID-19 helped our year tremendously because what happened is this is the problem. I won't make an excuse, but last year there was so many more agents in the business because the market was getting so easy. And when COVID-19 came back, half of those agents stopped working and we didn't. I mean, we would go to the office, we'd be the only ones there. It was great. We had a private office. So in our market, only maybe half of the agents work. So now with COVID-19, only half of those were working. So in 90 days, we sold 78 houses. It was phenomenal. When the stay-at-home lifted, we had 34 accepted offers in June. It was great. So I hate to say it. It was, yeah, it was good for us. No, COVID-19 actually helped us. And then, of course, it helped anybody who had listings because when the inventory level went down to, it's like half of what it ever was, any listing you had sold like hotcakes.
So Mike, it kind of sounds like the secret ingredient for you was just stay working.
Right. Yeah. That's right. Exactly. Yeah. You got to look at different times of your life. There's going to be opportunities. You just got to take advantage of them. And that's what we did. We decided we weren't going to panic or anything. And quite honestly, our guys did great. We just kept working. Yeah.
So Mike, what would be a normal year for you? 200, 210, something like that?
Yeah, in our best year ever, we sold 266 homes, but normally is between 200 and 230, somewhere in there. This year, we'll probably do 240. We're on track for that. So we have 190 closed and pending right now.
That's hot, baby. That is hot. If I had a hat on, I'd take it off.
Yeah.
That's great. Good for you. So, so hard work, hard focus. Your business comes from internet calls, ad calls, phone calls. Where's your business coming from? I mean, you're past plant and steer. I get that, but how are you reaching them and bringing them?
Prospecting. Yeah. Prospecting? So it's all about making contacts. So every day we get to the office where they're at 7:30. We make calls for an hour and then we role play at 8:45. So we're pretty much at the morning schedule. We got down pat from 7:30 until noon. We're on the phone prospecting. The afternoons for appointments. If you don't have any other appointments, you're doing more lead follow-up and prospecting in the afternoon.
Got it.
It's a simple business. Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? So
Mm-hmm.
you're telling me that you prospect every day?
Every day. Yeah.
You've been doing this
I
for
actually,
39 years.
I actually like prospecting the most about the business, believe it or not, just because it's a habit. Prospecting and lead follow-up is a favorite part that I enjoy. Of course, I like going out and meeting people, going on appointments, but I get the joy out of getting appointments set up. Matter of fact, I've bought a house in Naples, Florida, and I work in the winter from Florida. And for this year, it'll probably be 8 weeks. And while I'm there, I prospect in the morning from 7:30 that time, which is an hour earlier. Well, 8:30 that time, till about 12:30, 1 o'clock. And instead of going on appointments, I give those leads to my team, and then I go out and play golf in the afternoon every day.
You know, everybody on this call should be making notes of that, because you can do it too. There's really no reason why anyone can't do exactly what you created for yourself, Mike. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
That's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. So how far away from Mike Ferry did you live?
Pretty close. Yeah.
In Naples?
Yeah. I'm in a development called Twin Eagles. He's probably less than 5 miles away from my place.
Very, very, very beautiful. Very beautiful homes down there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, so you guys are calling. You guys are making phone calls. What kind of this? I know this is going to be. I'm going to preempt the question. What kind of CRM do you use?
Top Producer.
Top Producer. And Top Producer can handle 7,000 leads?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow. Fantastic. That's very cool. Do you have it set up in a certain way that, because I would suspect that other than the 500, the other 6,500, you probably have some leads in there that are buried.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, and one of the other things we find out when we send out, like, again, I do a blog or an all text email every 2 weeks. When somebody clicks on or reads that blog, those are the people you want to call because they're thinking about real estate. Otherwise, they wouldn't be looking at that. So when we get that list, and some of them respond back, they respond back with an email. They want to get a free market analysis on their house. So those are the people that we call first. Then we call our our best leads, and of course, we're going to generate leads through other sources for sale by owners, expired listings, referrals from networking groups. Like you said, some internet leads, some leads from signs. So we're going to follow up on those also. So it's a combination of all those things where we generate the appointments.
Got it. So the business that's outside the past client and sphere, do you use a pre-listing package for all of the business that you do?
Yeah, if we get a listing appointment, we send a pre-listing package. It's delivered prior to the listing appointment.
Is there ever a time that the pre-listing package isn't sent, or is that tried to happen all the time for you?
Well, it's tried to happen all the time. If there's not enough time, if we're going on the appointment the same day, then we'll email it to them. But more often than not, we have a courier on our team, and he delivers packages, puts lock boxes on, sign writers and that. So he takes care of that part of it for us.
Very cool. So it sounds like you want to make sure that they're getting the listing presentation package in a hard copy format as opposed to an email format. Is that kind of what I'm hearing? That
is correct. Yeah, it's better to have it in a hard copy.
Got it. And then your contacts that you're making, your past client and sphere, is it all social media, email, text, etc.?
No.
Or are you doing like a handwritten mail kind of thing?
No. The only thing we email them is uh, either a blog. So I'll go on video like this and do a real estate blog about what's happening in the market. I might have different topics like, how to handle multiple offers if an offer comes in on your house, what an inspector does when they look at your house, or just updates on the market. So when they open and click on that, we know they're thinking about real estate, and then we call them. But most of the appointments are by calls. They don't call, some call us, but most of them we call them. We call them and update them on the real estate market, or we're calling FSBOs and expireds. Um, again, because of the amount of past clients we have, we don't have enough time to call around just listed and just solds. So we have enough between FSBOs, expireds, center of influence, and past clients. That's the major portion of our business.
Mike, thank you. Let me ask you, in your marketplace, how many people sell 200 and how many teams sell 200 deals? Are there a lot of them?
Not a lot, but there's more. We used to be the largest team or broker, but there's some groups in our area that have 25 or 30 agents. So they're gonna sell more. They should sell more. But I'd say there's probably about a half a dozen teams or agents that sell in the area of 200 plus homes a year.
Got it. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And you talked about role playing. Is that something that you do with the team, or the team does separate from you, or how's that work?
No, we role play every day. Matter of fact, I wanted to bring this out, Neil. If anybody's interested, we're doing a turnover of our role plays. I know most of the people are on Pacific time.
Right.
We're on Central time. So if anybody's interested in role playing 8:45 our time, 6:45 your time, please email my assistant, and we're looking for role play partners. And the advantage is you might get me one morning, you might get my brother Alan or my nephew Brad or Eric. So we switch it up. So we typically have 4 other role play partners every day, and then Mondays we role play amongst ourselves. But every day at now it's 8:45. We used to role play at 7:30 right away in the morning, but we found it was better to call the expireds at 7:30. That way we're contacting them first. So we spend the first hour just contacting expireds. So if anybody's interested, email my team at rothteam@shorewest.com. That's SHOREWEST.com if anybody's interested in the role play situation.
Okay, cool. Excellent. Fantastic. We'll post that in the group. We'll talk. We're spending a lot of time with role play and scripts and dialogues and breakout rooms and stuff like that. So maybe that's a conversation that we can have with you guys to kind of share some different things that we're doing that maybe we can tie together somehow. The time difference is a little bit tricky, but maybe we can work it out. And then we do this open mic thing that I don't know if we've talked about at all, but that's very, very cool. So we'll talk about that later on. Mike, let me ask you, when you first got in the business, before you met Mike Ferry, where'd your business come from? How'd you start?
I had no idea what I was doing. So I was like 20 years old at the time. And I went to an agent in the office and I said, he was an experienced agent. He was probably like 25, 30 years in the business. And I went to him, I said, Bob, how do you get sales in real estate? And he told me, he goes, yeah, you got to get listings. I go, well, where do you get listings from? He goes, well, you call the for sale by owners and the expired. So that's what I did even back then. So as a brand new agent, I had no training by my manager. I just kind of found it out. And then through the internet, I researched back then, speakers.
No internet in 1981.
Yeah, that's right. I should say, through mail. I found tapes or speakers. I actually ran into Floyd Wickman. That's how I
All right.
met Mike Ferry. Yeah, so the first superstar retreat I went to was because of Floyd Wickman, and then he wasn't there. Mike Ferry was there. So that's really what happened. I could have been one of those lost agents in the same venue as what everybody else is, but I was just lucky.
Well, that's great. That's fantastic. Mike, what would you say your superpower is?
I'm a pretty hard worker. I'm pretty disciplined. I'm self-motivated like anybody else. At some point in time in your life, you get complacent. But I think that's it. I come to work every day. I get my work done, and that's why we produce. It's pretty simple. If you're not willing to work hard, you're not going to make any money in real estate.
Can I quote you on that?
Sure. You can do whatever you want. I don't care. Sure.
Excellent. So one of the questions I like to ask guys like you is, in your career, you found an objection handler or a situation that comes up from time to time where you when it does, you handle it and you're happy about it. It's one of the most powerful things that you do. Is there a particular thing, maybe in a for sale by owner or expired or closing on a listing presentation, that you use that works for you on a regular basis?
That's a good one. I think all the stuff that, one of the most powerful things we do is every year we'd go to the prospecting school twice a year, and
Right.
As a group. And when you're there, you're amongst other powerful agents, and you can hear them and listen to them. So I think that's one of the things I would recommend. We tried to reproduce that in our team, our little office, and where nobody had appointments, you just prospected all day long. And throughout that process, there's all kinds of things that we've learned. But I'd say, like Mike talks about, you got to ask open-ended questions. It's all about the presentation. If you ask open-ended questions, you're going to get better results and the answers that you want. So I would say that there's a multitude of different closes that work, but they're all dealing around the presentation and open-ended questions.
Okay, good. I appreciate that. Maybe we'll do some role play as a group later. Not today, but you can share some of those things. That would be excellent. Do you mind if I open this up a little bit to questions?
Sure, no problem.
All right, good job. Okay, so unmute yourselves if you guys have a question for Mike Roth. Who wants to go first?
I go first?
Sure, Mike. Mike, talk to Mike.
Cool. So Mike, thank you so much for sharing. The question that I have is, what's the biggest challenge that you have faced during the 30-something years career?
Complacency. Yeah, because you achieve goals you set. You got to reset goals and go to the next thing on your list, and then keeping the people around you out of complacency. So that's the biggest challenge.
Okay. Good question. Good answer. Love it. Okay, other questions for Mike?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Tess.
Okay, so I first of all, thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
My question would be, you do a lot of business from your past clients. How do you keep up with them? How do you have a consistent, religious, repeat business? Meaning, do you do like appreciation party? Do you send them something? What do you do as far as making them feel that, they are your great clients?
Sure. Well, the biggest thing is you got to stay in contact with them. And the best way, of course, is talking to them. But we do other things to stay in contact. So everybody gets a mailing it's 6 times a year. So we send out a calendar at the end of the year. Believe it or not, people still look at calendars. It's an expensive calendar. We send out a football schedule for the Packers and the Badgers, and then we send 4 postcards a year. Secondly, we touch them if we have their email address every 2 weeks, again, with information. Mike says give them information of value about the real estate market. And then lastly, we call them. You know, it's a very simple script. You know, you start the call with, today it's interest rates are at a very low point, lowest they've ever been, 2.5% to 3%. I just wanted to let you know that in case you were thinking of moving and refinancing. And by the way, who do you know that we could help with buying or selling real estate in the coming months? Or who do you know that has questions, even if you don't ask them, who do you know that has questions about the real estate market that we could help out?
All right.
And then the conversation goes from there. But yeah, it's a combination of all those things. You know, it's not just one, it's all 3.
Constant communication. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Right, good job. Patty, did you have a question? Patty Billings?
I do, yeah. You mentioned that you get internet leads or do internet advertising. So I was wondering, can you talk more about that?
No internet advertising, no leads from Zillow. The only internet we have is our website itself. So the leads we get from people inquiring on properties, because remember, if they're inquiring on the property, they might own a property they need to sell. So one of the things I stress, just because they're calling on a property to buy it, remember that could be a potential listing. So anybody who calls on a sign or maybe a property we have listed, look at that as a potential, potential listing also. But no, we don't buy leads. Zillow calls me like once or twice a month. And
Wow.
I don't buy any leads from Zillow.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, good job. All right, good work. Go ahead, Josie.
Mike, thank you so much. You're so low key. What's your personality type?
Mike Ferry says I'm analytical. My wife says I'm a driver, so whatever.
Not so.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, good. Other questions, please? Yvonne, go ahead.
Hi, Mike. It's Yvonne Riano. We have been talking about Ray, right?
How are you? Yes.
Thank
How are you?
you. Call me after this. I have something to talk to you about him. He's going to
Good,
sell everything in there. Have quite a few
good.
property. Anyway, I have a question for you. You said you have been doing that blog, video blog. So you get a lot of people who are thinking about real estate at that time. So you call them, you can offer them free market analysis of their own house. That's a great way to get listing. Can you tell me how often do you do that kind of blogs, video
Every
blogs?
2 weeks. Every 2 weeks.
Okay. All right. How long is your video blogs? Normally.
It has to be, normally it's about 2 to 3 minutes. Any longer than that, the prospect gets kind of bored.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing.
welcome.
Great inspiration.
I think, Mike, if I'm not mistaken, you use a service for that, don't you?
Yeah, correct. Viral marketing. Yeah, all you do is with a camera in your office like I am here, I'll talk about a subject real quick, and then you send it to them, they edit it, they write the print, and they send it out to your database. Very simple.
Oh, that's great. Can you give us that information? What's the contact number?
If you Google them, you'll find them. At one point, Mike endorsed this company. I don't know if he does anymore. It's called Viral Marketing.
Okay,
They're
got
in
it. Okay.
Omaha, Nebraska. Frank
Okay, got it.
Presence is his name. Yeah.
That's a great way to get some listings.
Good.
Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Yvonne. Good question. Other questions for Mike Roth? Other questions for Mike Roth? So, Mike, as they're thinking of something, so a new agent, look, it's hard to relate to you a little bit. If you're a brand new agent or fairly new agent, 240 transactions this year. You think COVID's the best thing since, well, I mean, you don't want anybody to be sick or ill or those kinds of things. I understand that, but it's played well for you in your business. So the question I would ask you is, new agent, fairly new to the business, doesn't have a lot of past client and sphere. What would you recommend that they be doing, let's say, for the next quarter?
Well, they still have a center of influence. I mean, think of it this way: if they're married and you got married and had a wedding, how many people would you invite to your wedding?
Okay.
Most people invite 200 people, right?
Right.
So I'd start out with that. Those 200 people know you, they like you in most cases, and they'd want to give business to you. So I tell people, call them and let them know you're in real estate and ask them if they have any questions about real estate or if they know anybody who has questions. That would be the first thing. Second thing is, there's still plenty of people that are selling their own homes, and irregardless of what people say, they're still expired listings. So I would call those groups next, but really it's, as a new agent, you don't need just to have that source. If you went and called every for sale by owner and every expired listing, you would get business, because that's what I did when I first started. There's business to be had there yet.
So you just went out and how did you learn the market back then? Did you have to preview property too?
Yeah, I mean, so what I did when I was a brand new agent, I actually went and knocked on their door. Now, it's a little hard to do that now, but after COVID's done, so I would take the mapping technique like Mike did. So I would map out all the FSBOs and I'd knock on their doors. And if they weren't home, I left a package there. If they were home, I'd ask if I could go in and look at the property.
Right.
So that was my previewing property. And then if there were expireds in the realm of that mapping process that I did, I'd stop there. So I was more comfortable back then knocking on their doors. Today, it makes more sense. I don't have time to do that, so I make the calls, of course.
Got it. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good. Other questions for Mike? We wind up in here.
I'll say this, Neil, about a new agent. So when the people who as I work with my uncle at one point too, any of the people that work with me, I even told my nephew, I said, listen, before you come and work, Brad, I want you to shadow me for 1 week, or at least 3 or 4 days. I want you to shadow me, and then you tell me if you really want to do this, because it's not exactly what you think it is. So if you watch me for a whole week, listen to me on the phone or go on appointments and follow me around, you still want to do this job, then I will teach you how to sell real estate. So that if I was a new agent, I'd find some agent like myself and I go ask to shadow them for a couple of days. That they're going to learn a heck of a lot. And I did that even after I was an experienced agent. If I was at one point, I was stuck at 100 to 150 deals and I wanted to get to 200 deals. I needed to go see an agent who was doing 200 deals if I wanted to get there, to find out what I had to change in my business. So that's what I would do if I was a new agent. Find somebody who's doing maybe 25 or 50 deals. Don't go to someone like myself, other than the fact you're going to learn what it takes to prospect every day, but go find out what they're doing and duplicate that.
That's fantastic. That's great advice. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it is 1 o'clock. We appreciate your time. Unmute yourselves, everybody. Let's give Mike Roth a big hand. Woo! All right.
Thank you.
Fantastic, buddy. Thanks. Fantastic. So, Mike, right now, typically what I'll do is I'll take a few minutes with the staff. You're welcome to stay around and kind of find out what they learned from today. So you're welcome to stay around, but if you've got a hard stop, we totally understand it. We appreciate you. We appreciate your time, your effort, and you are an example of what can be done over time consistently. And you know, you're still grinding it out, but you're making $1.9 million grinding. I like that grind, okay? I don't know about anybody else, but I could get used to that grind. All right? Okay. Good job, Mike. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me. And if anybody's interested in role playing with myself and our team, send me an email.
All right.
Can you give your email address again, please?
ROTHEAM@SHOREWEST.com. And just put your interest in role playing, and my assistant Lois will contact you and set it up. But it'd be during the week at 6:45 Pacific Standard Time or 8:45 Central Time.
All right. Good job. Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So what did we learn today, everybody? What did we learn today? Who wants to start? Nobody? Oh, Josie, there you are.
Okay, so he is so low key, but he had so many good points here. I mean, I started out being a little bored, and then he just, you know, started talking about the viral marketing. He talked about, you know, people who call back are people who are interested, so follow up on them. You know, he just kept going on and on. It was great.
Good. Perfect. Excellent. Go ahead. Who else? Nancy? Oh, no, she had something else. Okay. Who else wants to share what they learned today? Go ahead, Yvonne.
I think I'm going to do that viral marketing thing. That's going to be very helpful to get listing. And
Good.
also, I learned that prospecting where you're on vacation, it's time difference, so you can give the list to the local people, your team, and you go back on your vacation. Just prospect 1 hour.
Absolutely. No, it's great. It's great. The thing is, you have to be prospecting on a regular basis over time, and then you have to set some people up to be able to throw the ball to when they're there and you're out of town. Absolutely. But it's not done overnight. This is a great program, great service.
Yeah, one more.
Go ahead.
Yeah, one more thing. He said always send out pre-listing package. Hard copy is better. Because remember I asked you guys the other day, I said, my seller told me she doesn't understand English. Even though I send a pre-listing package, she will not read it. But the fact was that she did read some of them because I did have some Chinese there. So I went down the listing presentation yesterday and she did read some and make marks. So make the interview go better, smoother. She didn't sign the contract yet. She will have some weird thinking, but I was overcoming the objection. Today I followed up with her. She said she will consider me. She has some things she has to talk to her husband about, but she really think what I said makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I almost didn't want to send her the package. I did. That was very helpful. But she said, Yvonne, I didn't get this before. You're different.
Because no one else is doing it. Or you assume everyone's doing it. And I'm telling you, no one's doing it. You think this is an old story. I give an idea and everybody's mad at me for giving the idea publicly because they're going to say, because they say, I hear this all the time, that everybody's going to do it. Okay, write this down. Nobody does it. Almost nobody does what I suggest. And when they do, they make money. Go figure. Okay, who had their hand up? Who had their hand up? Shasha, what'd you learn today?
Go back to expires and for several owner. That's what I did before. I need to go back to that.
Okay, all right, what else? Valerie, do you have something? I can't unmute.
He said constant communication. And he laid out all the different things that he does to talk to his people. So I thought that was great. So
Good.
yeah, constant communication.
Excellent. All right, what else did we learn today? Robert.
He sound very simple. Very simple.
It made everything sound simple. Exactly. Absolutely. Robert, go ahead.
Role play, prospecting, follow up, and that's it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly kind of what I was going to say. There was nothing said that we don't already talk about. Like there wasn't anything when he was like, wow, that's different. It was just very, very basic, simple, follow the plan, just do that and you'll be fine. He even said, just do what other people do. Like everything was just very basic and simple to the plan. Like, don't go off plan. Just stick, as boring as it is, just stick to the plan. But he also said something that for anyone who's thinking about building a team, this is a really key point. You asked him, so how much of the team business is your business? And he said, well, I'd like the team to do more, but yeah, I'm predominantly the rainmaker. If you ever want to build a team, understand you must always be the rainmaker. You will always be the rainmaker. If you try to build a team hoping that they will provide all the deals, it is not going to happen. So just a good note to thought for those of you that want to hire people thinking that you could just then sit back.
How come I can't go to Naples? And that's a great point. He bought a house in Naples, probably paid a few $1 million for it, and goes there for a few months during the summer, and he sits and does 2 or 3 hours worth of prospecting, gives the leads to his people. He has to be the generator. He has to be the generator. There is no other way.
I have a question, Neil.
Please, Armin.
So it's we've had a lot of different people interviewing, and it's so many different diverse markets in the area of price, not in the area of anything else other than price and commissions paid. So with our market, what would be the minimum amount of deals closed before one would consider hiring somebody to help them? And keep in mind with our market here and with Masters, we have a TC, which generally once we have a property in escrow, our TC, the good ones will actually do a lot more than required. So at how many deals would it be, you think, before?
Rule of thumb, if you talk to Mike, etc., is probably in the 18 to 25 range. Okay, depending on the price range, depending, etc. I'm seeing it where agents are getting help earlier on in their cycle, and they're getting more business faster. But it's admin help, okay? It's not buyer agents and listing agents. It's usually admin kind of help, okay? That's the concept there. But you need somebody, and if you're doing the admin work, you're the admin. So you have to kind of think about that. There's got to be a way to structure it. Absolutely. Does that help, Armin?
Very much.
Okay, good. Okay. Anyone else have anything else they want to share before I turn this over to Mr. Robert?
I have something, Neil.
We learned today. Mike Vasquez, go ahead.
Yeah, I really like his approach. I like how he's very laid back. He doesn't at all come across as cutthroat. And just the way he asks his sphere, who do you know that might have real estate questions that I can help out? I mean, just coming from that contribution and just from a place of not at all aggressive, I just love that.
Yeah, no, very, very, we've seen, this is our 45th or 47th interview since we started this, the 17th of March. And there's a theme here. Anybody know what the theme is?
They were.
I mean, everybody's got a different market. There's a lot of different price points. There's a lot of different parts of the country. There's a lot of different laws, rules, and regulations, but they work. They get up every morning. They do their role play. They do their scripts and dialogues. They do their prospecting. They do their follow-up. They make sure that go on appointments, and then they do it again tomorrow. And a lot of them have been doing this for years. And I hear this from agents all the time. I don't want to have to grind anymore. Okay, don't make any money. Because if you're not willing to put in the time, effort, and energy, it's not going to work over time. It's just not. So anyway, that's the name of the game. Isn't it
exercise?
I think
exercise is a big part of it too.
Excuse me, exercise meaning?
Any kind of exercise in the morning. When they get up, most of them do some form of exercise.
Okay. Well, they all have some kind of routine. They all have a mental routine. They all have a learning routine. So they're always constantly taking stuff in, learning, growing, figuring it out, putting it back out. So powerful
Neil,
stuff.
you are welcome to, Neil, this is Michael. You are welcome to go to Naples, and you are welcome to make the calls and give us the leads. We will be very happy.
Interesting. Interesting. Good thought, Michael. I was kind of hoping you were going to Naples and you were going to send us the leads. Okay. All right.